This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. What's going on, everybody? As we all know, mental health is a huge piece for me. And recently, as I become a better version of myself, I've decided that it's time for me to go to therapy because I understand how life can be a little overwhelming and we all need help navigating through the trenches of military service in and out of uniform. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who is trained to listen and give you helpful, unbiased advice. First, all you got to do is go to their site. Matter of fact, you can use my link right here. Answer a few questions and BetterHelp will match you with a professional who has years of experience in helping people with struggles just like yours. You can do it all from your phone or computer via phone call or video chat or messaging, however you feel most comfortable. It's the easiest possible way to start talking to a therapist. You will be matched to a therapist usually within 48 hours so you can get started fast. Let BetterHelp connect you to a therapist who can support you all from the comfort of your home. Visit betterhelp.com/MeechSpeaks and enjoy a special discount on your first month. I don't know who need to hear this, but what's going on, everybody? It's that ordinary podcaster with the extraordinary thoughts that tells you to stop being great and be extraordinary. I'm Demetrius Thigpen, also known as Meech Speaks, and welcome back to another episode of the Talking Crazy podcast. Now, before we get started with this podcast, head on over to your favorite streaming platform, whether that's Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts, and leave this podcast an honest review, because this podcast deserves to grow just as much as we do. Good morning, good morning, good morning. What's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. It's the beginning of the week. You already know, we got to get the Monday energy right. You know what I mean? We got to come into the week feeling accomplished. We got to come into the week ready to knock out some goals. We got to come into the week unapologetically you. All right. And I just really want to just start off real quick, man, because I got some stuff I got to get off my chest. And I'm going to be honest with you. I've been sitting back on this episode. I've been sitting back on this episode for about 2 weeks now. And the reason why I've been holding this episode a little bit near and dear to my heart, the reason why I've been holding this episode a little bit closer to my breast is because I honestly don't know how to deliver it without sounding cocky. I don't know how to deliver this episode without people thinking that I'm arrogant. I don't know how to deliver this episode without hurting somebody's feelings, because I know for a fact that's exactly what I'm going to end up doing. I'm going to end up hurting just somebody's feelings when I deliver this episode. And I honestly don't know how else to deliver it. But can I just be honest with everybody that's just in the room, that's in the car, that's currently listening to me right now? I cannot stand when I get advice that I didn't ask for. And I'm going to say that again. I can't stand when I receive advice from people that I didn't ask for. All right. I can't stand unsolicited advice. I can't stand unwanted advice. I can't stand, hey, do you mind if I just give you my opinion real quick type of people? I can't stand that shit. You feel me? I can't stand, hey, here's some advice that you didn't ask for. I can't stand that, and maybe it's got something to do with my upbringing. Maybe it's just got something to do with the fact that I'm in the military and I've been in the military for 14 years. I'm surrounded by, A-type personalities all the time. Maybe it's just the fact that I know exactly what the fuck I'm doing in my life. Okay? Can we just be honest real quick? Because I know it's somebody listening to this right now that knows exactly what the fuck they're doing in their life, and they don't need somebody else telling them how to live their life. They don't need somebody else sitting there trying to give them, the game or drop a couple gems on them real quick or pass some knowledge down to them. I'm not trying to sound arrogant when I say that. I'm not trying to sound cocky. I ain't trying to be rude. But at the exact same time, man, I don't know who need to hear this, but keep your fucking advice to yourself until I ask for it. God dang. I'm sorry. I had to get that off my chest. You know what I mean? And the reason why I bring that up, man, and for those who don't understand, this episode is all about dealing with unwanted advice, okay? Whether that's in a relationship, whether that's in your job, whether that's in your life, nobody really wants to hear advice from somebody about, let me rephrase that, nobody really wants to hear advice from somebody they don't like. Nobody wants to hear advice from somebody that don't know the full picture. Nobody wants to hear advice on something that they can't use. So I really, man, like, bear with me, man, because this episode might be a little rocky. All right, this episode may not be for everybody, but let's just go ahead and dive into today's episode. All right, so you heard me in the very beginning, right? I got an issue with this. Now, before we get started, man, and I give you a little background to this, please understand that I do value good advice. Like, I value good advice. I value it so much that I have actually paid for good advice. I value good advice so much that I've actually driven hours to go receive this advice. I value this advice so much that I have dropped everything that I'm fucking doing just to receive this advice. You know what I mean? But this is the thing, man, is that good is always subjective. It's subjective to who's delivering it. It's subjective to where you're at in your life. It's subjective to what is being said and how it's being said. So when I tell you that I do value this good advice, I truly do. I really do, man. But the real ick, man, like the real reason why I can't stand it, man, it kind of goes back to my upbringing. Now, for those who don't know, you remember when my grandmother had pulled me off to the side when I was like 8? And she had asked me, she said, Demetrius, baby, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I had told her, I said I wanted to open up my own restaurant. And she told me, like, baby, they don't make a lot of money. Y'all already know I scrapped that idea, threw it away. 2 weeks later, she comes back up to me and she says, Demetrius, baby, what do you want to be when you grow up? I tell her that I want to be a comedian. She says, do you really want to be a joke for the rest of your life? When she gave me that advice, right? You know, advice that I didn't ask for. You know, I just really want to bring that up. I ain't asked for that. When she gave me that advice, it left me kind of lost for the next 12 years. I think I was about 8. Yeah, until I was about 18, perfect. 12 years of just feeling lost. And I'm talking about, I'm so lost that when they didn't call my name for the ACT so I can go off to college, I didn't even give a fuck. When everybody else was stressed out about going to college, I didn't care because of the simple fact I didn't even know what the fuck I wanted to be. But as soon, oh my God, as soon as I finally got a light bulb, right? Like I get this light bulb and I finally realized like, oh shit, maybe I should join the military. Everybody and their mother, bro, like everybody and their mom came up to me and told me that this was a bad idea. I'm talking about they were world experts on CNN, on everything that was going on but me. You know what I mean? Like they were telling me like, oh, you're going to get PTSD. Oh, you're going to get blown up. Oh, you're never going to be the same. You really going to go out there and fight that war for a country that don't care about you? You really going to do all of that? You so smart. How about you go off to college? How about you do this? And imagine if I would have taken that advice. You know, imagine if I would have taken that advice. Obviously, we know that this version of me would not even exist. I wouldn't have went on to become a published author. You know, I wouldn't have started this podcast. I wouldn't be the man I am today. I wouldn't be the father that I am today. I wouldn't be the person that I am today. Just imagine, man, that somewhere down the line, there's a version of me that took the advice of someone else on my life. Like, can we really break that down for a second? There's a version of me out there. Let me rephrase that. There's a version of you out there that did not go down the path that you currently are on. There's a version of you that had took the advice from somebody else on how you should live your life. It's scary. It's scary because it's like, I kind of got an idea of what that version is. He's still in Detroit. More than likely, that version probably works at a fucking factory. More than likely, that version ended up in jail. More than likely, that version ended up dead. That version didn't survive to get to 25. And it all came back to whether or not I choose to take advice that I never even asked for. And I can't stress that enough, man, because I don't know who need to hear this. And us military folk, man, we always pervious to some unsolicited advice. whether that's from an NCO who thinks he knows everything, whether that's a staff NCO who's on his second fucking marriage and he thinks that he's the expert on love advice. Let me rephrase that. He thinks that he's the expert on relationship advice. Whether it's that toxic leader who feels like it's his duty to tell you how to live your fucking life, tell you how to be the best Marine, the best soldier, the best airman, the best overall service member. Whether it's that fucking veteran who had a shitty time while he was in, but he thinks that it's his duty to tell you how to live your life because the military didn't do right by him, but in reality, he just didn't do right while he was in the military. It's some people out there, right? Or let's switch gears a little bit. Maybe it's not military related. Maybe it's somebody listening to this right now. They currently in a relationship. And while they in that relationship, it's some motherfuckers telling you how your relationship's supposed to go. Not only is these motherfuckers telling you how your relationship's supposed to go, these people is single. These people in failed relationships. They the product of failed relationships. And they telling you how your life's supposed to go. Let's pull another layer back. Maybe you're a man. You know what I mean? Maybe you're a man. And it's a woman telling you how to be a man. Or switch gears. Maybe you're a woman. And it's some fucking man telling you how to be a woman, how to conduct yourself, how to carry yourself. That's not how a woman's supposed to be. That's so crazy, right? So if this episode really resonated with you, welcome to the Talking Crazy podcast. Let's go ahead and get started with it. So this is the part in the episode where I tell everybody like the different types of people that give out unwanted advice and why they just make my skin crawl. The first one is the narcissistic person, okay? More than likely, they're giving you advice not because they actually care about you. Let's just be frank here. If there's a narcissistic person giving you advice, more than likely, they just like the fact that they're an authoritative figure within your life. They love the fact that they got a pen and they were able to write a little piece into your fucking story. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure we've all seen those type of people, especially at our jobs. You know, the person that thinks that they shit don't stink, the person that thinks that the entire shop revolves around them. In their mind, they feel like they the most important person in the story. So when they give you advice, I promise you, dude, they are not giving you advice from a space that they actually care about. They're not really giving you advice from hey, I understand your situation. I've been through it before, man. Like, this is what I would do. No. They heard what you're going through. They assumed that they had the idea, and now here's their answer, and they're about to force it into the situation. And they're expecting you to take that advice just so they can sit back and tell somebody like, yeah, man, like I gave Demetrius some advice, man. I helped him get his shit together. That's the reason why they gave you that advice. So that way they could brag about it later. That's one of the main reasons why I don't do well with taking unwanted advice. Now, the next one, man, like is very similar to the narcissistic person, but this person just wants to have dominance within your life. He wants to be perceived as this authoritative figure within you. To be honest, he wants to see you as like little bro. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, hey, little bro, come here, man. Like, I got something, man. I'm going to give you some advice. I had somebody like that in my life. Needless to say, man, I cut this motherfucker off so goddamn fast, man. You would have thought that I was a seamstress the way that I was moving them scissors. But I remember he was giving me advice on relationships, and the advice was so wrong. You feel me? Like the advice was so wrong that I looked at him. I said, what? I said, why the hell would you give me that? To be honest, those type of people that want to be authoritative figures, shit, dude, like I'll be completely honest. It's some of us social media gurus. They give out advice so that way they can sit back and say like, man, look at all these people. Look at all these followers. Look at all these people that have subscribed to my podcast. They take advice from me, and they pride themselves on the fact that they are authoritative figures within others' lives. And to be honest with you, half the time, the advice that they be giving don't be worth a damn. It be some sage shit that's not even realistic. It be some imaginary shit that they read off a quote or a meme, and they just turned it into an episode and pushed it out to the public. Those are the type of people you got to be careful with. And for some, I might even come off as that. I promise you I'm not. But at the exact same time, you know, you got to tread lightly when you even listen to me. I shouldn't be an authoritative figure within your life. I'm telling you little bits and pieces about my life and just hoping that you can resonate with it. Now, the next person, This one is more about like judgment and drama. All right. And when I say judgment and drama, have you ever just had somebody come into your life, man? Like when they come in, they listening and they gonna give you advice, but for some reason you find out that your information got leaked. You find out that like somebody else knows something about you. Yeah, that's because the person that was giving you advice, the only reason why they're giving you advice is because they love the drama that is going on in your life. So they will give you breadcrumbs to get you into a different direction so that way they can get more information. And when they have that information, right, like they let other people know. And then when they sit back with those other people, all they really do is just judge you. Hey, man, look at Demetrius, man. His life is always a fucking mess. Demetrius can't never keep a relationship. I was just talking to him yesterday, explaining to him what the fuck is going on and what he can do to keep a man or keep a woman. You know what I mean? Like, these are the type of people in your life that you really got to tread lightly. You could just tell them like something's going on and immediately they jumping up and they like this. Yeah. Tell me everything, man. I think I got something for you. Those type of people, you have to be very careful. And the worst part about that is the fact that these type of people are sometimes at our jobs. You know, they're giving you advice. They're giving you this unwanted advice sometimes. And they're only giving that to you so that way they can hear more about your story and judge you along the way. And then not only are they going to judge you, they just going to take it and they just going to pass it to somebody else. And they going to spread your information around. And more than likely, it'd be misinformation anyway. Now, let's talk about how we deal with this. Now, once again, man, like good and bad is always subjective. Good advice really comes down to the person, comes down to the situation, comes down to the overall relationship. When you got a good relationship with somebody, you know what I mean? Like when there's a good, healthy relationship between that person, when they give you unwanted advice or when they give you advice, it's always received well because they have already established a good rapport with you. They already have like, trust with you. You know what I mean? Like you already trust this person. So when they talk to you, you already are very open to listen to them. However, if you do not have that relationship with that person, if y'all don't, he don't understand the situation, if he ain't never walked in them shoes before, if he ain't never just took a step back to see it from your perspective, that's when the advice is going to be bad. More than likely, that person ain't trying to give you advice to solve your problems. They just giving you advice because they came up with a solution in their head. They don't even know exactly what the hell's going on. And the best way to deal with that, right? Like the best way to deal with that is to stand firm on your boundaries. And I don't know who need to hear this real quick, man, but your boundaries don't have to appeal everybody. And I'll say that again, man, because we love to talk about boundaries. You know what I mean? Like we live in a society right now where everybody tells them that you should have boundaries. Draw the line in the sand. Make sure you have boundaries. Tell these people what's going on in your life and make sure that they don't cross your boundaries. But as soon as you do and they don't like it, now all of a sudden you're about to be judged. See, this is the thing that I had to learn about boundaries. Boundaries are for me, okay? My boundaries ain't got shit to do with you. My boundaries, you don't have to like my boundaries. My boundaries are for me. So when I'm dealing with somebody that giving me unwanted advice, I'm very quick now to sit back and ask them, did I fucking ask you? You know what I mean? Like I know that may come off very arrogant. I know it may come off cocky. To be honest with you, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Because when you give me unwanted advice, it's almost like an invasion into my life. Who are you to give me advice on my life, especially when I didn't ask you? So don't get mad when I look at you and I say, like, did I ask you for that? I don't remember asking you for advice. Now, I get it. We all at different jobs. We all at different spaces and we all have different personalities. That type of advice may not go well for everybody. But what you can do is be firm and you can be respectful. I appreciate that. I'll take that into consideration. I already have a plan. I appreciate you for giving me that though. Me personally, I don't feel like I should have to thank you for giving me something I didn't fucking want. That's just me though. Like I don't feel like I should have to thank you. Like, thank you so much for giving me something that I'm not going to fucking use. Wow, man. Like, I honestly, legitimately don't know what I'm going to do with this. But I understand those who want to essentially don't want to cause drama at their workplace. They don't want to cause drama within that particular relationship. They don't want to make a mountain out of an anthill. So, yes, man, like, it's okay to be firm. But the one thing that should not be negotiable is your boundaries. If you already have an idea of what the fuck you want to do, if you already have a tribe of advice where you can get it from, if you already have the situation under control and somebody feels like they should drop their unsolicited advice that has nothing to do with the hell is going on in your life, it's perfectly fine to just tell them, like, I appreciate that. I'm not going to be using that though. It's okay. Now, once again, if you're in the military, I'm pretty sure it's a staff and CO that loves to give you advice. And it's very easy, man, for you to get in trouble by speaking your mind. So I'll give you the military answer. I appreciate that, Staff Sergeant. Thank you so much. That's it. You ain't even got to let them know that you gonna use it or not. You know, insert whatever rank into it. You can easily look at them and just say, I appreciate that. Thank you. They can do with that however they see fit. But the whole purpose of this episode, and this is one thing that I just really want everybody to understand, is that before you interject yourself into someone else's life, ask them, man, hey, do you want my advice? Hey, do you mind if I give advice on this? Before you force yourself into someone else's journey, take a step back and ask, man, like, do you have everything already situated? Is there anything that I can assist with? Do you mind if I give you my advice? Ain't nothing wrong with that. But what we can't do is just give out advice because we think that that's the best thing for them. You may not even know what the hell they're going through.
And just like that, another extraordinary thought left this ordinary mind. I hope you enjoyed this episode half as much as I enjoyed making it. Don't forget to head on over to your favorite streaming platform, whether that's Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts, and leave this podcast an honest review because this podcast deserves to grow just as much as we do. Also, don't forget to head on over to TikTok or Instagram and follow me at Meech Speaks. That's right, Meech Speaks. Meech is spelled Meech. Stay motivated, stay healthy. I'm out.